Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Gina Carano gets major win against Disney in discrimination lawsuit. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Gina Carano has beaten Disney on a major point in her lawsuit. She didn't yet win the whole lawsuit, but this is a very important part of the lawsuit. Clearly, Disney had this information and were delaying releasing this information for 8 months. Lawsuits take a long time. That's the nature of things. You can't really resolve a major conflict in a short amount of time. So it's natural that there are processes and procedures. But Disney was apparently abusing the process by not releasing information that she rightly requested, that the judge said she was entitled to demonstrate how much money she could have been making if Disney didn't fire her for what was viewpoint discrimination. She wasn't a leftist. She essentially said so on social media. They fired her. There's a little bit more to that story, but not that much. From Angela Schaefer, employment and labor lawyer, Gina Carano wins big against Disney in lawsuit discovery battle, forcing Disney to comply within 20 days, handing over verified spreadsheets showing how much actors were paid across The Mandalorian, related Disney Plus shows, and the upcoming Mandalorian movie. And Andrea makes a good point here. Sage Steele, now Gina Carano, are warriors in the culture war. Where are the men? I don't see a lot of men actors pushing back, and she's got a good point. This is from Gene Scherer, attorney for Gina Carano. Discovery motion granted in Gina Carano's case against Disney. The court is forcing Disney to turn over information about how stars like Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, and others from The Mandalorian and other Disney Plus Star Wars shows and the forthcoming movie The Mandalorian and Grogu were compensated for their roles. She needs this information to demonstrate what the damages would be that she can specifically claim because she didn't get these opportunities. Gene continues, Disney must produce verified spreadsheets showing actor pay across multiple shows, key evidence that will help show the financial harm that Disney imposed on Gina when it unfairly and unlawfully terminated her. While the court's order at this time did not give Gina access to everything she was looking for, it made clear we can seek further evidence on actor compensation if our expert concludes that such evidence is still necessary after we review what Disney produces in its response to this order. The court also required Disney to move quickly, giving them only 20 days to comply with the order. The order shows the court won't let Disney bury relevant information in this high-stakes battle by playing procedural games. This lawsuit's a really important lawsuit because Disney, and now Paramount, has done the same thing. But in this lawsuit, Disney is saying we have a right to work with the kind of people we want to work with. You can't judge us if we choose people based on viewpoint, skin color, anything we want, because we're producing First Amendment material. This Star Wars show is our free speech. So how could you limit our free speech? We don't have to hire people that we personally don't like, or if we don't agree with their speech, we can't have their dirty speech mixing with our really cool special leftist speech. That's their defense for this. And that's what's being challenged. And the judge is hearing it. These lawsuits take a long time, but Disney's trying to make them take longer by delaying their responses to very important information that she does need to be able to say, look, I would have made this much money if my role was comparable to this person's role who already made that much money. And from thatparkplace.com, Gina Carano wins big against Disney in lawsuit discovery battle. Judge orders Disney to hand over actor pay records within 20 days. In a major legal victory for Gina Carano in her lawsuit against Disney, the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California has granted a motion to compel Disney to turn over key documents related to how other Star Wars actors were compensated, including big names like Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, and others. The order comes after 8 months of what Carano described as Disney's deflection and stalling in a wrongful termination lawsuit. Lawsuits take time. That's completely understandable that not everything is going to be available to be given over to other parties like overnight. However, it is clear that 8 months is a little bit too long to wait to turn over documentation that Disney does know that they, of course, have available to them. They don't have to go looking for it. It's right there. Maybe there's some complicated issues about compensation or release of compensation information. If that was the case, if Pedro Pascal has some special deal where he can't have his information released to any other party, something could be released in a hidden way under seal where it's only available to Gina Carano and her legal team and their experts, and maybe that information doesn't get made public. If that were the case, or maybe there's some other complicated compensation deal that has to do with back-end profits or success of an upcoming movie or a spin-off or rights to do different things, all that is possible. But again, that is something they could have communicated with the other party about and said, look, we have some complicated formulations. It's not all really black and white. Can we communicate about this? Apparently, they have not been doing that. And the judge has ordered in the past that this information be made available. So they didn't make it available. Gina's people filed a motion to compel. The judge approved the motion and wants to see the information. The order from the court forces Disney to comply within 20 days, handing over verified spreadsheets showing how the actors were paid across The Mandalorian and other Disney Plus shows. And this lawsuit is so important because Disney has been making the argument that they can hire whoever they want. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. If they don't like your skin color or your viewpoint, they don't need to hire you because it's their First Amendment expression when they're making First Amendment content. A movie, a TV show, anything that's considered media, Disney feels they have the legal right to discriminate against anyone they want to discriminate against. They tried to have this lawsuit dismissed on that basis. Paramount tried the same thing. This is a major issue for Hollywood. It is a little bit different to produce art, let's say, media, rather than producing boxes in a manufacturing company. But it's not that different, and you can't just treat people like garbage. So far, the judge in this Disney case and the judge in the Paramount case have not allowed those dismissals to go through. They don't seem to support that position, at least not at this early stage. A motion to compel is basically a legal way of saying, quote, they're not giving us what they're supposed to, judge. Make them give us this stuff. Carano's legal team filed this motion back on April 2nd after 8 months of what they claim was stonewalling by Disney during the discovery process. Simply put, Gina Carano's lawyers need access to Disney's internal data so that a damages expert can calculate what Carano likely would have earned had she not been fired in 2021. The court agreed, finding that Carano's request for pay data across Star Wars actors was reasonable, relevant, and necessary to establish lost income. And just because they established what the lost income would be, it doesn't mean that she would necessarily get that money. She may get more. She may get less. But there has to be some kind of a baseline to say if you hadn't fired her, this is what she would have been paid. According to the court order, quote, the root substantive and material question relevant to the party's claims or defenses is what information plaintiff needs, on its own terms, or to provide to her testifying damages expert. The damages expert would be on Gina Carano's team and would say, look, based on this other information that Disney has provided and my industry experience, here's the money she likely could have lost. This helps to establish the amount of compensation she could have reasonably expected to earn from her employment with Walt Disney, in context with a but-for scenario. Had Disney not terminated her employment from the Mandalorian television show in February 2021, but for the firing, she would have made this money. That's what they have to establish, or at least get some nearness to establishing a reasonable number. That's what they want. They want that money. While the court didn't grant everything Carano asked for, it gave her legal team the green light on several key points. 1, Disney must produce actor compensation records within 20 days of the court's order, and it's already been ordered. 2, the documents must include verified spreadsheets, not vague summaries or cherry-picked numbers. Those verified numbers would be the actual numbers these people are getting paid, not some general estimate. Of course, Disney knows all these numbers. The scope includes The Mandalorian, other Disney Plus Star Wars series, and the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu film. If even more records are needed to make their case, Gina Carano's lawyers can ask for additional evidence after reviewing what Disney hands over. Ultimately, this isn't just a minor win in the Gina Carano Disney lawsuit. This opens the door to even more discovery if the expert believes the first batch isn't enough and they can successfully make that case to the judge. What else they might ask for? Maybe viewership of Disney Plus, profit and loss on other Star Wars projects, other Star Wars films. That's possible. Licensing numbers, anything related to Disney's business that could have or would have or should have impact Gina Carano and her character. The judge granted Carano's motion to compel in part, ordering Disney to hand over the following within 20 calendar days unless both sides mutually agree to other deadlines. These are the required documents. 1, actor compensation summaries. Disney must provide verified spreadsheets or summaries showing how much of these actors were paid. Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, Carl Weathers across The Mandalorian seasons 1 to 3, Rosario Dawson in The Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka seasons 1 and 2. Also, Amanda Sterling in The Acolyte. That ought to be interesting. And Diego Luna in Andor seasons 1 and 2. They also must turn over Carl Weathers' contracts. Disney must turn over Carl Weathers' actual contracts for The Mandalorian seasons 1 to 3, with redactions limited to personal or representation info. Also, Mandalorian movie pay data. A spreadsheet showing compensation for any actor from the series reprising their role in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, with Disney again required to verify the accuracy. Disney must also provide information on their general compensation practices. Disney will have to provide verified information either in writing or through discovery, explaining how lead and supporting actors are compensated across Star Wars Plus Disney shows: The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Book of Boba Fett, The Acolyte, and Skeleton Crew, especially if pay structures differ between series. And also per the order, the information on compensation can be given on an attorney's eyes-only basis, but Gina's expert is allowed to use it to build her case. That's the whole purpose. The whole purpose is not to embarrass Disney. Do they deserve being embarrassed? Of course they do. The purpose is for Gina to be treated fairly for being unjustly fired. Disney has been ordered to hand this information over, but what if they don't hand the information over? If Disney misses the 20-day deadline or tries to drag its feet again, there will be serious consequences. The court can issue sanctions against Disney, including fines or forcing Disney to pay Carano's legal fees for wasting time. The judge could also strip Disney's right to object to future evidence disclosures, meaning Carano's team could gain access to even more internal data with less resistance. In the worst-case scenario, Disney could be found in contempt of court. Being found in contempt of court could have a fine with it, and ultimately, Disney is not going to get any advantage from being found in contempt of court. Hiding the information and just wishing this would all go away is not going to work for Disney anymore. It would also allow the judge to take certain negative inferences about Disney and decide, you know what, it looks like they're a little bit more responsible than they're claiming to be for some of their wrong actions, essentially allowing the judge to become more biased against Disney in the case. This legal breakthrough comes just days after Gina Carano blasted Disney on X for continuously disrespecting her long after she was fired. That includes the recent ESPN Women's History Month tribute that scrubbed her entirely from the legacy of mixed martial arts, despite her central role in establishing the sport. Quote, Disney discrimination is as plain as day, Gina said in her earlier post. Maybe that's why they're delaying providing the proof sitting right in their files. Gina Carano has also accused Disney of holding a double standard when it comes to political or ideological statements made by actors, pointing out that others in the company's orbit have made far more controversial comments than she did without facing termination. Gina Carano is tough as nails, and a lawsuit like this, especially with the way that Hollywood is set up, and especially with the damage that it could do to Disney's reputation when she wins, because I believe she will win, that's a risky thing for Gina to do. Other studios are going to be less likely to want to hire her on to do things. She will get less roles, she will get less opportunities, just because she stood up for herself and what was right for her own benefit, but really for the benefit of all of us that just want to enjoy entertainment without being forced to watch projects that are done by people that only want to believe one certain way or are forced to be afraid to even speak out if they don't believe the same thing as everyone else. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.